Signori, buonasera. La live sta per iniziare. Mettetevi comodi, prendetevi qualcosa da mangiare e rilassatevi. Amici, buonasera. Ben ritrovati. Ho l'orecchio sinistro quasi completamente tappato. Bene, non era proprio un modo per iniziare una live, però. Io sono Hunter e siamo qui tornati su Genshin Impact. Prima di iniziare, vi devo dire una cosa. Sono andato a rivedere il mio primissimo video di Genshin Impact. Quello in cui dissi, vabbè, sì, faccio una one shot, poi vediamo cosa succede, no? Non mi immaginavo che avrei passato un sacco di tempo dentro questo gioco. Dentro, sì, nel proprio che mi ci sono infilato a capofitto.
No, for the last time, Paimon is not emergency food!
Buonasera Ariel, ma come stai? Ma facciamo uno shoutoutino, uno shottino per il signor Ariel. Eccoci. Come dicevo, sono quasi 2 anni. Quasi 2 anni. Eccoti qui pronto a vederti piangere con la main story. Ho già pronto i fazzoletti, quindi per ogni evenienza. Dopo Naida, dopo Caribert, sono già pronto per la depressione. Come stai, Ariel? Allora, bravo, grazie. Dicevo, con Genshin Impact compio quasi 2 anni. Tra circa un mesetto e mezzo arrivo a 2 anni su Genshin. Mi metto comodo e ti seguo. Bravo, bravo. Mi raccomando, seguimi piano a 30 all'ora, che se no mettono pure gli autovelox. Vabbè, ho detto una strozzata. Quindi 2 anni. 2 anni di stronzate, appunto, che racconto con voi. 2 anni da quando sono entrato timidamente nella chiesa di Mondstadt. Ma ciao, Mister Donofrio, come va, carissimo? 2 anni di freddure. Io ricordo i tempi in cui davo a 20 del coglione. Che bello che sei, Ariel. Questo ragazzino bardo che entrava nella chiesa di Mondstadt e diceva sono il vostro dio, datemi la lira, e giustamente lo rispedivano fuori a calci nel culo. E che dire ragazzi del boomer Zhongli che fa tutto un casino perché vuole andare in pensione, fa un bordello allucinante. Oppure che dire il boomerone, esatto. Il boomer massimo, il boomer roccioso, granitico. Che dire di Inazuma? Di Inazuma, che dire della nostra odiatissima, ma anche in parte adorata Raiden? C'è un rapporto di amore e odio con Raiden. Ayaka, personaggio che purtroppo è stato sfruttato troppo negli eventi, diciamoci la verità. Ormai un evento ci stanno Yoimiya Ayaka. Cioè, 3 eventi ci sono stati loro. Vabbè, lei è comunque bellissima. Però, vabbè, sono gusti, ci sta. Poi che dire di Sumeru? La bellezza di Sumeru, ma la bellezza soprattutto della principessa in persona. Mi accontento dell'unico good boy di Genshin, Goro, vabbè, sì. Tra l'altro, credo sia disponibile pure in questo banner, quindi assieme a lui, il vero eroe, colui per cui tutti abbiamo aspettato per la 4.5. Itto! E chi meglio di lui? No, vabbè, sto scherzando. Ho provato anche il nuovo personaggio 5 stelle, è carinissimo. Per l'ultimo evento Ayaka ci ha dato che i suoi abiti della skin sono di Fontaine. Itto, marito mio, il marito. Vabbè. Ah, e finalmente dopo tanto tempo siamo arrivati qua. Dopo tante avventure, tante emozioni, tanti misteri ancora da scoprire. Che cazzo ha fatto in Calomia? Perché gli Heavenly Principles non intervengono con i fatui che stanno a fare casini? Che deve fare uno? Ragazzi, questo banner armi è molto buono, ma non per le armi 5 stelle, ma 4 stelle. Mi prendo il cuscinitto dito, mentre mi mangio un polaritto. Anche gli Heavenly Principle hanno il cuscinetto. Cioè, uno che deve fare? Si deve mettere dall'alto del pilastro che sta a Dragonspine e deve pisciare. Scusate la volgarità, però è giovedì sera. Deve pisciare lì e dire: vedete, ce l'ho più grosso di voi, Heavenly Principles. Permettetemi un po'. A me Itto non piace, vabbè, sono gusti, ci sta, ci può stare. Chiori mi pare si chiami il nuovo personaggio, è molto carina, c'è da dire. Non mi ha fatto impazzire, però è molto carina, ha un bellissimo design. Ok, quindi cosa ho fatto in questi giorni, amici? Ho esplorato un pochino Fontaine. M'è partita una World Quest così, però ho registrato e non l'ho continuata, è solo partito l'inizio, c'era un cavalluccio marino di mezzo, salvami cavaliera, va bene, registrato. E quindi ho esplorato un po', ho sbloccato qualche teleport, non proprio tanta roba, però quanto giusto quel pochino proprio per... Ho sbloccato tutte le statue dei 7 di Fontaine. Tra l'altro poi sono tornato a Mondstadt, perché Mondstadt è qui ragazzi nel cuore, e ho portato la statua dei 7 a Mondstadt a livello 9. Così, perché avevo letteralmente un Anemoculus, ho messo l'Anemoculus, puff, è salita di livello la statua. Cioè, di quelle cose che mi ero completamente dimenticato. Però ci sta. Allora, cosa faremo oggi? Nel frattempo cambio la scena. Un po' tardino, sì, effettivamente. Oggi proseguiamo con l'Archon Quest di Fontaine e cercheremo di scoprire il mistero che sta dietro la scomparsa delle ragazze che a quanto pare sembra che si vengano trasmutate in oceani disciogliendosi. Cioè, ma cosa sta succedendo? Quelle di Mondstadt e Liyue sono le più importanti. Lo so, mi dispiace, Donofrio. Io purtroppo, se dovessi contare le tante cose che mi perdo di Genshin per cercare di mantenermi un attimo in avanti con la storia e cercare di capirci la lore, non andando nel contenuto endgame, e quando mi dice uno flexami Tartaglia, fratello, lo vorrei flexare, però non c'ho niente da flexarti. Cioè, e vedo i mostri con i 75 di crit rate sui 200 di crit damage. Che punto sei arrivato? Allora, quindi avevamo iniziato la scorsa puntata. Mi tolgo un attimo le cuffie perché altrimenti c'ho Bennett nelle orecchie. avevamo iniziato con il caso concluso, il nostro carissimo Laini che era stato scarcerato, e a quel punto abbiamo detto basta, amicizia fatta, vuoi vedere il mio Tartaglia? Se vedo il tuo Tartaglia esplodo probabilmente, però dai, dopo lo voglio vedere. Cerco di andare un attimo spedito. Non è il massimo, devi vedere il mio, figurati, non ho portato nemmeno l'arma al massimo, quindi figurati. Dicevo, e quindi diciamo alla signora Navia, arrivederci, è finita la quest, voglio andare a cercare mio fratello, prendo l'appuntamento con l'Archon, pace fatta. Se non fosse che, raggiungendo la statua, dopo aver bevuto dell'acqua primordiale che era inizialmente destinata a Navia, quindi c'è stato pure un tentato attentato, un attentato verso Navia. Beh, scusate, volevo fare la battuta, non mi è riuscita. Entriamo in contatto con un oceanide. E quindi esce fuori un po' fuori tutto il contesto, ma quindi le persone che vengono sciolte a Fontaine si trasformano tutte in oceanidi e quindi inizia tutto. Iniziamo irrimediabilmente a continuare col nostro ciclo di un problema in una regione, risolvi il problema, i fatui sono i cattivi, i fatui prendono l'agnosi, eccetera, eccetera. E nel capitolo 4 atto 2, sì, stiamo praticamente indagando su quanto è successo anche dietro la morte del padre di Navia, Callas. E l'ultima volta Mellus, mi pare si chiami così, ci ha lasciato una bella lista di sospettati. Quindi mettiamoci le cuffie e direi di proseguire. Appunti alla mano, ragazzi, mi raccomando, prendete nota che poi vi interrogo, mi raccomando. E chi non chi non risponde bene a tutte le domande si becca un Vriously. In che senso, direte? In ogni possibile senso. No, scherzo, comunque. Mi metto a piangere. Che senso ti metti a piangere? Per Vriously o per altro? Ma questo si chiama Munaciello. Ma si chiama Munaciello questo, ragazzi. Se sbaglio mi metto a piangere. Ah, ok. Ma signor Munaciello, come sta? Sta a posto. Parleremo dopo col signor Munaciello. Fa troppo ridere. Ora ti mando un messaggio. Ok. Frattempo siamo tornati da Mellus.
Please excuse me and enjoy your conversation at your leisure.
Thank you for arranging everything for us, Malus. Excuse me, miss.
Va bene.
Do you need anything from us?
Già iniziamo con la bambina mezza scazzata in low poly.
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
Non diamole fastidio per adesso.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time. After what happened, I didn't know how I was supposed to face the two of you.
Ah, if it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died, Spina di Rosula sent us a lot of mura and support. I understood your guilt and apology to be genuine.
Sono morti i suoi compari. Quali compari? Di chi nello specifico?
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand the kind of pain that comes with losing a father so needlessly.
I due che gli stanno sempre dietro, ma... no, cioè... Cioè, sempre stanno bene. Perché dovrebbero morire, scusate ragazzi?
You don't understand at all.
I didn't know how to face you, because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a consolation gift.
Stanno ancora bene, cioè nel senso Melus e Silver, cioè non lo so ragazzi, non fate spoiler, occhio,
I know only the full truth could bring closure to you. And to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I appreciate the sentiment, but you don't have to carry all that guilt. On the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have more or less found our answer already.
Would you mind sharing it with me? I really can't believe that my father could ever bring himself to shoot Jacques.
Ah, Jacques è il padre della ragazzina.
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into the synth business again.
Ah, ok, è vero, c'era di mezzo anche il commercio di questa droga che veniva ricavata dall'acqua primordiale.
He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too literally. For the longest time, he thought Mora was everything. So when Mr. Callis came to him with a proposal, he accepted it almost immediately. He tried to be as careful as he could, but even so, he was still found out by the higher-ups.
They found out about his betrayal?
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized it was his final farewell to the two of us.
Quindi qualcuno ha ordinato a Jacques di far fuori Callas?
I don't know that for sure, but you could say that's the conclusion I eventually came to. Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callis had always taken great care of us, both when he was still alive and after he passed away. Even if he fired the shot that killed my husband, it was likely in self-defense. It is impossible for me to hate him for what he had done.
Quindi Coraline e Adele sono la moglie, rispettivamente la moglie e la figlia di Jacques, che era l'amico di Callas, che secondo i dati ufficiali è stato ucciso da quest'ultimo a colpi di pistola, ma sappiamo che non è così. Siamo certi del fatto che non è così. E questo evento è in qualche modo collegato alle sparizioni delle donne. Hai mai pensato al fatto che probabilmente a Natlan e a Snezhnaya ci potrebbe essere la questione delle temperature caldo e freddo? In realtà no, però ora che me lo dici potrebbe essere molto interessante. Se mettessero delle meccaniche che introducono il caldo e il freddo, però aspetta, noi il freddo ce l'abbiamo già a Dragonspine, quindi dovrebbe essere gestito in modo diverso. Cioè, magari a Snezhnaya c'è un tipo di freddo che è diverso a Dragonspine. Anche il caldo. Non mi ricordo nello specifico in che punto. Abbiamo quello della signora. Ah, ok. Va bene. Giusto. Un caldo che non è durato tantissimo. Praticamente accendi la stufa. Andato. Allora. Andiamo avanti.
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy if he did the right thing? Papa always wanted to be a good man, so why did he have to do a bad thing in the end?
Probabilmente perché è stato ricattato. Almeno così la penso. Oppure hanno minacciato la sicurezza della moglie e della figlia.
Well, things aren't always as they seem. You still feel like your papa was a good man, right?
Yeah, Papa was a really good man. The best in the whole world.
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to do a bad thing, then he must have had his reasons. Regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword. He must have done so to give you a better life.
Madonna, la voce di Navia è spezzata dalla tristezza in questo dialogo. Cioè, la doppiatrice ha fatto un lavoro eccellente con Navia.
Oh,
Com'è che si chiama la doppiatrice inglese di Navia? Che voi sappiate?
Thank you for everything you've told me. I will definitely find the truth. The current state of things is not something I'm willing to just sit back and accept.
Thank you. I'm very grateful to hear this from you. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is really similar.
You really think so?
Brenna Larsen. Cioè, è veramente brava, ma ha fatto altri lavori, perché la maggior parte dei doppiatori di Genshin Impact sono tutti professionisti con una bella carriera alle spalle. Mi basti pensare al doppiatore di Saino o lo stesso doppiatore di Zhongli.
That's the first time anyone said that to me.
La famiglia di Jacques crede che l'ordine di uccidere Callas l'avesse messo in seria difficoltà. Callas ha agito per autodifesa o si nasconde altro dietro l'incidente? Ah, mi è arrivato il... credo sia il tuo messaggio. Tudo. Sei tu Dono di Luna? Donofrio? Comunque. Eccoci qua, non è ecco qua.
are you okay, Navia?
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next. Florent should be nearby, and we should be able to find Thierry and Uncle Marcel in the city.
Right.
I'll get myself together on the way. So please don't worry.
Scusate, ho perso un attimo l'orientamento.
Adventure time.
Però dovrebbe stare sopra, quindi dobbiamo salire le scale. Andino si chiama. Cava. Il ragazzino si chiama Cava.
Off we go.
Beh, che dire? In questa situazione di forte difficoltà, questo ragazzino se la cava. Usa il pilastro di Jong per salire e devo mettermelo in squadra. Questa signorina ha doppiato su un film e qualche personaggio di alcuni videogiochi. Ah, videogiochi del tipo... Apollo. Vabbè, te la dovevi aspettare però. Te la dovevi aspettare, Ariel. Pokémon addirittura? Ah, quindi comunque una bella carriera la signorina.
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance today?
Con questi baffi questi baffi che sono 2 manubri. Non è che sono baffi a manubrio, sono 2 manubri. Anche con questa Ray, vabbè, immagino che la stessa Mioio. Non è vero, le accetti, le lasci o le accetti? Oh,
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the Opera House. Someone got turned into water right in front of us.
è stato liquidato in tutti i sensi. No, basta, mi fermo con le battute.
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic, I'm sure journalists will milk it for all it's worth. And it'll be all the talk for the next several weeks.
It also reminded me, on the day that the incident happened with my father, it was raining outside, and we found some clothes left at the scene.
A me sto fatto che non mi piace di Genshin Impact è che le voci dei doppiatori non sono sincronizzati con le bocche dei personaggi. Quindi a un certo punto, cioè, diventano dei ventriloqui. Cioè, aprono la bocca, poi la chiudono e lo so, è normale, me ne rendo conto pure io, però mi dà un po' fastidio.
After my partner here put the dots together for me, I feel like we should try to reopen his case.
Lo so che è sincronizzato al cinese, infatti per quello, vabbè, magari forse un giorno sistemeranno, magari faranno in modo che a seconda del doppiaggio sincronizzano automaticamente il movimento labiale.
Can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that night?
Puoi fare un favore e provare a ricordarti cosa accadde quella notte, va bene?
Let me think. Mr. Callus was feeling pretty upbeat that day. So he was drinking and bantering away with us at the table. After that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking much of it. Who knew that we would hear 2 gunshots ring out right after?
Paimon si è spaventata così a caso.
My first reaction was that Mr. Callus's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster and made a mad dash toward the scene. But when I got there, it was already too late. Mr. Callus was standing over a dead body with a gun in his hands. All we could do was look back and forth at each other, not knowing what to say.
So you also remember 2 gunshots then?
Indeed. The guard said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. But I've never really bought that explanation. Reason being, Mr. Callus had left his gun on the table. I even made sure to confirm that before running to the scene. But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other guns on his person. About the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned. Do you think there was a third person there who was turned into water?
È decisamente possibile.
At least from our perspective, my father had no reason to kill. So he would also have no reason to bring an extra gun with him. The gun he was holding probably belonged to Jacques, or a third person on the scene.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying Mr. Callus ended up with the gun because he seized it from one of the other guys? But hold on. If that's what had happened, then why didn't he share the truth with any of us? He didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine, and chose instead to prove his honor in a duel.
Non ha detto l'Oratrice Mécanique, io mi sento male. Mi sento male. Perché l'ha chiamato l'Oratrice Machine? Comunque ragazzi, tra poco inizia la pubblicità.
Did he lose all faith in the courts after seeing someone dissolve right in front of his eyes?
L'Oratrice Mécanique d'Annalise Cardinal. Esatto. Ah, fa male. Fa male.
About that, Malus told me a thing or two. So, I think I can understand why he committed to the duel.
Scusate, ho mangiato da poco.
I'll tell you everything once the whole truth has been revealed.
I understand. Then I'll leave Mr. Callus's honor in your hands, boss. And if I may just say one more thing. The whole Callus the Unfaithful epithet has been a thorn in my side since the day it was invented. Many people have laughed at me for still calling him Mr. Callus, even after so many years have passed. But it was Mr. Callus's trust that allowed me to rise through the ranks of Spina di Rosula and live the life I lead today.
Oggi mi sono ritrovato ad essere un Yula main. Io sono ormai un Tartaglia main, ma da ormai un sacco di tempo. Non ho buildato nulla, non buildo da un botto di tempo, effettivamente. Dovrei riprendere.
No matter what others might say, he'll always be the man I respect the most. And he'll always be my boss.
Oh, carino.
Don't worry. I will definitely find the truth. You and all our other comrades at the Spina deserve to know the truth as well.
Floran, il consulente della Spina di Rosula, ha affermato di essere molto grato a Callas per la sua gentilezza. Anche lui era presente al banchetto nel giorno del delitto e può provare che Callas non aveva portato con sé la pistola quando è uscito. Ho fatto una sfida, se riuscivo a tristellare l'Abyss 12 con Yula, La iniziavo a mainare ed è andata così. Nice.
Or not.
Ha fatto ridere tantissimo. Con Bennett che ha fatto la posa e Floran che lo fissava. Mm? No, la devi rifare.
No one's joined me on an adventure in
vabbè.
ages. Come on, let's go.
Va bene, dai, non perdiamo tempo. Era troppo divertente, mannaggia la miseria. Raggiungi la corte di Fontaine e vai a parlare con Thierry. Allora, andiamo a parlare con Thierry. Statua dei 7, teleport. Questo significa aver installato Genshin Impact su un hard disk e non su un SSD. Salve Thierry.
Hey, Thierry, it's me.
Oh, now, what brings you here, Miss Navia? I've heard that you made quite the name for yourself at the Opera House.
Oh, so you've got news of that already.
E poi mi chiedo, chissà se mai un giorno riuscirò veramente a fare l'Abyss, perché se non riesco mai a trovare il tempo di buildare, campa cavallo.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm also a member of the guards, you know. The way you make it sound, people would think I was sent off to Poisson because I had done something wrong.
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that? Under normal circumstances, shouldn't you have been called back to the city already?
I mean, where I work is really up to me. Let's just say I enjoy the ambiance of Poisson. Callus did a fantastic job running the town, building Spina di Rosula from the ground up and clearing many obstructions in my way.
Ah sì?
It would be next to impossible for me to find a similarly easy but high-paying job in the city. Anyway, enough chit-chat. Are these two friends of yours? You, here for some formal business?
Yes. These two are my partners. What happened at the Opera House made us realize that Linny's case and my father's may be related. We're trying to reinvestigate the details of my father's old case.
Ah, I get it. You think there might be more to the case now that we know people can be dissolved into water, right? I was also flabbergasted when I first heard of it. If you want to go through the original files from your father's case, I can help you look for them.
Gentile.
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Actually, I have another question. Do you have the authority to dispatch Gardamex?
Of course. Without them, I couldn't possibly handle Poisson on my own. Why do you ask? We definitely can't use them to forcefully get more evidence for your father's case.
Well, you see, just recently, we were attacked by a horde of unnumbered Gardamex in the city. So, if you hypothetically wanted to do something against me, all you would need to do is get rid of the mecha serial numbers and send them after me.
Then you think too highly of my abilities. Dispatching mecha is very different from controlling them. If I had to make an analogy, when you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but not to massage your shoulders or carry your baggage. If you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind and ignore you completely. The same goes for me and my Gardamex. Removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. There are a lot of complex steps to it, and it's almost impossible to keep it a secret. So I can promise you, those mecha were definitely private units. They're certainly not cheap. So whoever their owner is must be super rich, powerful, or both. Now that you mention it, though, being in the synth business would definitely be profitable enough to afford this.
Non fa certamente una piega.
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Oh, well, thank you for the vote of confidence, Navia. Jokes aside, I'd like to wish you all the best with your investigation. I'll be staying in the city for a little while, so Just come find me if you need any support from the guards.
Thierry è responsabile dei contatti ufficiali tra la spina di Rosula e la Guard. Secondo lui, solo coloro abbastanza ricchi possono possedere privatamente un gran numero di mecha guard. Non ha tutti i torti. Almeno di certo ha un ottimo alibi. Mettiti in contatto con Marcel. Ok. Andiamo a raggiungere Marcel. Ah, vabbè, se devo aspettare l'ascensore, figlio mio. Forse conviene che aspetti l'ascensore. Se viene l'ascensore, magari riesco a scendere. Ok. Andiamo a Clementine. Ci vorrebbe la musichetta degli ascensori, no? La casa pa pa para pa pa para pa pa. Andiamo all'atrio principale della stazione.
Benny's Adventure Team, assemble!
Ta 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 ta. Pure era pa 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 pa. Allora, Marcel. Eccoti qua.
Off we go!
Hello. How may I help you? I'm here to see Marcel. Could you please let him know? You can just say Navia's looking for him.
Sure. I will let him know right away.
Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young as I used to be, so my legs are giving out a bit.
La cosa che mi fa ridere è che per i PNC anziani, letteralmente per farli sembrare anziani, gli fanno i capelli più chiari, mettono una ruga sul viso e 2 baffi. Cioè, minchia, se io fossi così da anziano sarei un gran figo. Chiusa parentesi.
Oh, it's all right, Uncle Marcel. There's no need to stress. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about what happened in the opera house. I'm sure you saw everything.
Ma sei tu,
right?
Letteralmente sono io. Certo, non ha la barba, però.
Yes, I've never seen anything so strange.
Oddio, è inquietante anche il mio taglio di capelli. Ora che lo vedo meglio.
Oh, you were at the opera house too?
That's right. I went there with Navia to see the magic show. Who knew it would turn into a whole murder mystery? I also witnessed your marvelous sleuthing work. Quite impressive. To beat the Hydro Archon at her own game on her own turf, I can already imagine everyone in Fontaine discussing your exploits over a few glasses of wine.
Oh, Paimon doesn't want to become the talk of drunkards.
Paimon non vuole che degli ubriaconi parlino di lei. Non ti sta bene niente, Paimon. Oppure no, aspetta. Questo è chiaramente il Vietnam flashback di Venti. Ormai odia gli ubriaconi proprio a causa di Venti.
Apologies. It's just how Fontaine is as a nation. Everyone loves drama and theatrics.
Uncle Marcel, you've also noticed that other thing, right? The fact that humans can dissolve in water?
Yes, I was reminded of your father's case right away. Is that what you're investigating now?
Exactly. I still don't have much solid proof, but I can sense that the other side has already begun to act.
Oh, and what makes you say that?
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt to get me to drink water from the primordial sea. If not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably wouldn't even be here talking to you right now.
No, se non fosse stato per l'ingordigia di Paimon, però va bene.
Oh, you're giving us too much credit. Wasn't it you who protected us?
Alas, it seems things are heating up again. The peace that Callus sought so dearly will soon become a thing of the past. But rest assured, Navia, Poisson will always remain a safe haven for you. If you're scared, you can always return there. If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the Confrérie of Cabrières will use its funds to the last Mora to bring them to justice.
Thank you, Uncle Marcel. But I don't intend to go into hiding. I'm going to strike while the iron's hot. Do you have any new thoughts on my father's case?
About that. Sorry, my age is catching up with me, so it'll take me a while to recall my memory. The Confrérie was responsible for that banquet, so I was out and about the whole time making sure things were running smoothly. I didn't even have the time to drink with the guests. Then I heard the sound of a gunshot, and the rest was history.
Oh, it's okay. No need to push yourself. We'll ask around some more, see if there are any valuable clues elsewhere.
Sounds good. Just let me know if you ever need Mora. All my wealth comes from Callus's patronage and support. I'll spend however much it takes to clear his name.
Marcel è il capo della congrega di Cabrières, nonché l'organizzatore del banchetto anni fa. La congrega e la spina di Rosula hanno sempre mantenuto una stretta relazione lavorativa. Sebbene i suoi ricordi degli eventi siano piuttosto confusi, è disposto a difendere Navia. Di solito in questo genere di storie il meno sospettato risulta essere il colpevole, ma non ci soffermiamo troppo ai dettagli, ragazzi. C'è un viewpoint. Vado a prendere al volo. Perfetto. Scusate. Ok. Rivediamo insieme gli indizi raccolti.
We've talked to all three suspects, purely based on their conversations with me.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
E nessuno di loro ha dato quell'impressione.
I suppose that's to be expected, though. If a single conversation's all that's needed to find them out, then my father wouldn't have needed to investigate the case for so many years. Anyway, even though we didn't make a breakthrough, let's still compile what we were able to find.
But where should we start?
Dal movente di Jacques.
You're right! Flora mentioned that Callus probably only ended up with the gun because of circumstance. That makes sense.
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered, and that he had no choice before he left home that day. If I had to guess, he probably received an order from the synth boss to kill my father. Had he refused, he and his family's lives would have been forfeit.
Esatto.
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
Beh, nei panni di Jacques non avrei sparato affatto.
Oh. And why is that?
Era in grado di garantire la sua incolumità dopo aver ucciso Callas? O meglio, era in grado di garantire l'incolumità della sua famiglia dopo aver ucciso Callas?
Oh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just being used as a tool for murder. And once he had completed his mission, he'd be of no more use to his boss.
Per qualche motivo sto leggendo la lore di Yao Yao. Immagino che sia comunque molto interessante, visto che c'è Madame Ping di mezzo, che io sappia.
So, what would make more sense from his perspective would be to turn his back on the order and seek protection from my father.
La terza persona è stata quella che ha fatto capitolare tutto.
Makes sense. But without evidence, that's still just a theory.
Diciamoci che Jacques era stato costretto a sparare a Callas.
Besides Jacques, the attack from the Gardamex has been bothering me quite a bit as well. It's obvious that our enemy has become more antsy after the secret of the primordial seawater was revealed.
Do you think he knew, even then, that we'd follow this lead to the end?
Given everything that's happened since, it's quite possible. But who among the 3 suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex?
Bella domanda. Floran. Thierry abbiamo detto che non poteva. E se fosse stato Marcel? Beh, anche se effettivamente... Non lo so, ragazzi, il mio istinto mi sta pizzicando il naso e mi sta suggerendo Marcel. Perché Thierry non può controllare i Mecha Guard. Però forse Marcel ha abbastanza mora da permettersi dei Mecha Guard.
Uncle Marcel? My father did really trust him. And they worked together on a large number of projects. Maybe that's how he got to know Jacques. And with funds from the Confrérie, he could also afford a large number of Gardamex. Still really hard for me to imagine, though. After all, Uncle Marcel has been around since I was just a child. Also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of mora and energy to fight his own synth business?
Questo non significherebbe che avrebbe speso un sacco di mora ed energie per ostacolare il suo stesso commercio di synth? Forse è stato qualcun altro. Ok. Beh, mi viene in mente Floran a questo punto.
Florent? It is true that he was closest to my father, and thus had the best chance of learning about his dealings with Jacques. But as Spina di Rosula's advisor, his work mostly deals with personnel and security, so he shouldn't have much means when it comes to finances.
So you're saying he's too broke to afford a mecha army?
Ah, è vero, Floran non ha abbastanza mora, giusto? Mannaggia.
Exactly, he can't. And even if he could, I don't think he would be able to dispatch a whole group so quickly.
Rimane Thierry, per forza.
Thierry, you say? Huh. It is possible that he's figured out a way to convert the Gardamex for personal use. But I didn't feel like he was lying when he was talking to us about the mecha. I also don't think he'd be able to keep that kind of tampering under wraps.
Yeah, had he actually tampered with the mecha, we'd be able to prove it with a simple check of the guard's inventory.
Quindi cadono tutti e 3 i sospetti?
If the mecha were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find out when and how that happened.
Who could it be?
Credo... Allora... Informazioni su Thierry.
You know, if you think everything through, Uncle Marcel is indeed the most suspicious of them all.
Che avevo preso.
Could we be missing other suspects? Malus didn't know about the people turning into water thing when he narrowed it down to these 3, did he?
Malus has always been very reliable, and his judgment of others' trustworthiness has been fair and well considered. When he laid out his case for the 3, the rationale he gave me made a lot of sense as well. The suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal affairs, has the means to dispatch Mecha to assassinate us, and possesses significant intellect and foresight. Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could all tie back to Uncle Marcel.
E dopo tutto è una persona molto vicina a te.
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
La sede di produzione del synth.
Yes, Malus did say that charging straight in there would be extremely risky. But we don't have any other options right now. We need far more solid proof before we can hope to go charging in on our enemy.
È vero.
Navia, here you are. Oh, I've been looking for you.
Huh? Aren't you the guy from the guards? Did something happen?
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after you left. We've got another trial on
Un
our
altro
hands.
processo?
Wasn't that place built specifically for holding trials? What's so newsworthy about this one?
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a
God!
Fui harbinger called Tartaglia.
Tartaglia? Cosa? Cosa? Che cavolo ha combinato Child?
What? Is that someone you know?
Yeah, we know him. Maybe even a little too well.
Well, he's been accused of being the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case. It's absurd, don't you think?
Ma sì,
Wait, how? None of our investigations have had anything to do with him.
è vero che in Archon Quest c'è anche Child. Oibo.
That's what I thought was strange about it, so I came to tell you the news right away.
Perché Child dovrebbe essere il colpevole? Furina, ma cos'hai in testa?
If the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible to get the guards to support any of our planned investigations.
Ah,
Right. Because they'll think they've already found the culprit.
Yeah. And it'll be a lot harder then to clear Mr. Callus's name.
I understand. Well, partner, what do you think we should do? We still haven't found any conclusive evidence.
dividiamoci.
Split up? What do you mean?
Ah, tu vai a Erin, io vado a indagare in quel luogo.
Just as expected of my partner. Since this is a trial about the serial disappearances case, the culprit's attention will be focused on Irenaeus, leaving his home base wide open. You're right. This is our best opportunity. All right then, let's do this. I'll stall them at the Opera House and charge Marcel as the true culprit. I won't have any chance of making that charge stick, though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be up to you to make it back in time and hand the decisive evidence to me.
Ok, quindi invertiamo i ruoli. Navia va al processo e noi troviamo le prove aggiuntive per scarcerare Child.
We'll help you, just like you helped us in Lenny's trial.
Esatto.
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
I'm ready.
Ah, Malou, Silver. When did you two get here?
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson and figured that you might require our assistance. It's our hope that your confidence will be bolstered with the two of us by your side.
Thank you so much. Then, let's make haste for Irenaeus. Paimon, Traveler, I'll see you at the Opera House.
See you then.
Combinando le informazioni relative ai Mecha-Guard e i risultati dell'indagine finora, si può concludere che solo una persona può possedere un gran numero di Mecha-Guard e gestire il business del synth senza lasciare tracce. Questa persona altri non è che Marcel. Adesso dobbiamo andare nella base del synth per raccogliere le prove.
Now that Navia has set out for Irenaeus, we should also get going.
Ok.
The location has already been marked on the map, so let's head over.
Andiamo con molta calma. Trova all'entrata del quartier generale.
The synth production base is underwater.
Ovviamente siamo a Fontaine. Tra l'altro c'è anche una torre che non ho sbloccato nelle vicinanze. Eccola lì. Ah, che meraviglia. Adoro l'acqua di Fontaine. È un Hydroculus. eccolo, proprio dove sta l'entrata.
Finally found it. Huh. So this is the entrance that leads to the synth production base. It sure doesn't seem out of the ordinary at all.
Sì, ma sono sicuro che troveremo qualcosa di straordinario al suo interno.
You're right. An important place like this is bound to have a ton of protective measures and mechanisms. Navia's probably arguing up a storm right now to stall for us.
Nel frattempo opera Epiclesie, oddio che bello. Che ci fanno vedere il parallelo.
It would appear that I must repeat my question again, Mr. Tartaglia. Do you accept the charge that you are the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case?
To be perfectly honest, I don't understand your country's complicated court system, or the reason why I'm being charged with something I've never even heard of. However, I did hear that people who have been charged can choose to participate in a duel to clear their name. Is that right?
No, Tartaglia, non fare cazzate.
In which case, as long as I accept the charge, I can have an all-out fight with that champion duelist Clorend, right?
Ma perché? Perché Tartaglia?
I've got to admit, that's one of the most enticing offers I've ever received. When I privately sparred with her last time, she was obviously holding back. Real disappointing.
Hey! Don't you understand? You're currently the prime suspect for a major case. This isn't the place for you to be looking for fights.
Oh? Sounds like the Hydro Archon wants to lecture me on the ways of the Opera House.
Oh!
Then why don't you duel me too? I'm the kind of student that learns best in the heat of battle.
No. That's not what I meant.
Te la stai facendo addosso, Frina?
Alas, it would appear that communication with the defendant is going poorly, and we have made very little progress.
Poveroni villetti in mezzo a sti ragazzini.
In that case, let me explain everything from the very beginning again. The goal of this trial is to determine the culprit behind the serial disappearances case.
Noi Villette, dopo questa giornata si farà almeno 3 tazze di testo, povero Cristo.
That case had nothing to do with him. You've got the wrong man. Huh? What's going on?
Why is she interjecting again?
I told you it couldn't be one of the Fatui Harbingers.
Miss Navia, this is the second time you've interrupted the court proceedings. I only tolerated your behavior last time because you were able to provide the court with a key eyewitness. But that was an exception rather than standard court protocol. I can very well charge you with contempt of court for your interjections.
Oh, please. Did you ever think I had any respect for this place's pointless theatrics? We can put that discussion aside for now. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to charge the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case. And if my charges prove true, then Tartaglia here will be proven innocent by default, correct?
Oh, a young lady has charged in and offered to clear my name. How fascinating. Well, I'd gotten half bored to death by all these rules and procedures anyway. So I'll take you up on that offer.
Vabbè, Child che fa sempre il cascamorto.
So, Your Honor, is there nothing else for me to do now?
You may take a seat for now in the audience, but that doesn't mean the suspicions against you have been lifted. Now then, Miss Navia, who is the person you would like to charge instead?
That person is...
Marcel!
Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières!
Huh? What confrérie? Never heard of them in my life.
I've heard of them, but weren't they Spina di Rosula's sister organization?
Oh, is this going to be a friends to enemies type situation?
Please let me remind you, Miss Navia, that charging someone is an incredibly serious matter. Committing to the charge also means taking on the legal responsibilities associated with it. And if the charge fails, depending on the circumstances, you may also be charged with the crime of making a false accusation. Knowing this, Do you still wish to charge this man?
Porca miseria, Novillette, che ansia che mi metti.
Yes,
In that case, I declare the charge to be valid. Miss Navia and attorneys, please take your places on the court. Members of the guards, please contact Mr. Marcel right away so that he may stand trial. Mr. Marcel, you will not require an attorney. Is that correct?
Apologies. It all just happened so quickly. I still haven't figured out what's going on. I think an attorney won't be necessary. This is probably just a misunderstanding between me and Navia.
Very well. In that case, since both sides have now arrived, Miss Navia, please present your charges.
I would like to take everyone back to 3 years ago, to the case of Callus the Unfaithful. Only through elucidating what really happened in that case can we connect all the dots for the serial disappearances case.
Navia, do you really think that I was the one who killed your father? Come on, why would I do that? Callus was my benefactor, and remember both you and I only ran to the scene when we heard the sound of a gun. If that's enough to make me a suspect, wouldn't that make everyone at that banquet a suspect as well?
I think there's no point in getting into the specifics right now. The audience doesn't even have the big picture yet. Even I'm struggling to remember some details of that case.
Exactly correct, Your Honor. I must refresh everyone's memory about that case before I can explain my charge and reasoning.
I see. In which case, I will recount the findings about that case as originally recorded by Maison Gardiennage.
Comincia la
On the
confutazione.
day of the murder, Spina di Rosula hosted a large banquet in a countryside estate owned by the Confrérie of Cabrières.
E parte questa musica.
During the banquet, all attending guests heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. When the guests arrived at the scene, they found the primary suspect, Callus, holding a gun, while his acquaintance, Jacques, lay dead from a gunshot wound. The guards' investigation did not recover any other firearms from the scene. As a result, they concluded that the suspect's first shot must have missed, while the second must have taken Jacques' life.
Che belli sti disegni comunque.
The suspect did not dispute this conclusion, and also declined to defend himself in court. Instead, he chose to prove his innocence through a duel. Callus was defeated by champion duelist Clarande in the ensuing duel, and soon succumbed to the injuries. These are the known facts about the case.
The one with the motive to kill was Jacques, not my father. And even so, Jacques still had no reason to pull the trigger. In truth, the third person shot Jacques first, and was shot in turn by my father when my father seized the gun from him. After that, the true culprit turned the third person into water, erasing all traces of him from the scene. Thank you for the summary, Your Honor. Of course, the guard's conclusion appeared quite sensible to us at the time. However, we should revisit the case now that we've gained new information about the abilities of water from the primordial sea.
È il tuo turno, Navia. Il giorno dell'omicidio, la Spina di Rosula teneva un grande banchetto in una tenuta in campagna di proprietà della congrega. Due spari. Secondo le indagini, Callas, che aveva un movente. È davvero la verità? Callas non aveva portato con sé la...
Something's not right. The testimony of the victim's family confirms that Jacques had thoughts of assassinating Callus when he set out for the banquet. However, in the end, he reconsidered, and instead shared everything with Callus, hoping to seek the latter's protection. Unfortunately for Jacques, the true culprit had already considered this possibility, and had sent out another assassin.
Callas non ha portato la pistola con sé. Inoltre i dettagli suggeriscono l'esistenza di una terza persona. Infatti lo dice Floran. Ed è che cavolo. L'indagine... Oi, ciao Hiro, come va? L'indagine della Guard non ha trovato altre armi da fuoco. Di conseguenza hanno concluso che il primo sospettato deve essere andato a vuoto, mentre il secondo deve aver colpito fatalmente Jacques. Ma Callas non aveva portato con sé la pistola. Ma perché? Oh, ci provo. Mi sono appena fatto la doccia. Io ho l'orecchio tappato, quello sinistro. Vediamo. I vestiti di una persona sconosciuta. Che cavolo.
A pile of clothing was found at the scene. The guards once believed they were used by Jacques as a costume to disguise himself. But now, it is clear that the clothes were proof that there was a third person at the scene, and that they were turned into water after committing the murder. Since it was raining that day, the culprit was confident that they could use the rain to wash away all traces of their dissolved accomplice.
Quando gli ospiti sono arrivati sulla scena, hanno trovato il sospettato principale Callas con una pistola in mano, mentre il suo conoscente Jacques giaceva morto per terra. In base alle indagini svolte, non c'era alcuna possibilità che qualcun altro avesse potuto commettere il fatto e fuggire. Intanto faccio le daily su Genshin prima che stacco. Ah, ok, va bene. Dopo aver condotto le indagini è stato chiarito che Callas non ha portato una pistola con sé. La terza persona non può... Però i vestiti, giusto? Che scemo.
First shot Jacques, then turned to shoot Callas, only for Callas to wrestle the gun from him and kill him instead. Realizing this, the true culprit caused the hired assassin to dissolve into water, leading everyone to believe Callas was responsible for Jacques' murder. This is the true version of events.
Ho fatto un po' di casino con le confutazioni.
Wait, you're telling me something as dangerous as water from the primordial sea has been used for all these years?
What a great theory. It also explains Callas's and Jacques' respective motives. I guess they didn't shoot each other after all.
Mr. Marcel, you are the one being charged with the crime. You should provide a rebuttal if you wish to prove your innocence.
Ah, but I think I agree with everything Navia just said. In fact, there was nothing in her speech that directly implicated me.
Then, may I ask some questions? In my opinion, we primarily need to determine two things. One, do you have the evidence to back up your claims?
I'm afraid not. At least not at this very moment.
Boo! If you don't have any evidence, you should just go home!
I may not have the evidence with me, but I know where I could go to collect it. If we look up the deserted clothes against a record of people who went missing around the same time, we should be able to find a match. Considering the serial disappearances case, the guards probably kept careful records of all missing persons from around that time, regardless of age or gender.
Infatti ce lo ha confermato stesso Thierry.
That makes sense to me. Monsieur Neuvillette, I would consider this to be a reasonable investigative direction.
Why do I feel like Farina's acting a little differently today?
Maybe she's scared of embarrassing herself again?
No.
Alternatively, she's become more diligent after charging an innocent citizen in the last trial.
È vero.
My second question has to do with the ensuing duel. If the truth is indeed as you described.
Ho avuto una strana impressione, ragazzi, ma Furina veste in modo diverso rispetto al caso precedente, o sbaglio?
Then why didn't Mr. Callus explain himself in court? If he had testified that a person had been dissolved, he could have at least mounted a defense.
I've thought about this too, and the
È
answer
sempre
is
uguale.
actually pretty simple.
Ok.
He felt there were things that were more important to him. The dissolving power of water from the primordial sea is an important secret for the true culprit of the serial disappearances case. My father could have exposed it for all to see, but he chose to take it to the grave. At that time, Spina di Rosula was in dire straits, and his reputation had already been shattered. He had no guarantee that going forward with the truth would allow the culprit to be brought to justice. What was certain, however, was that it would paint a gigantic target on my back.
Boss once told me that Demoiselle had already been selected as the next target of the serial disappearances case.
What? If the secret had gotten out, the culprit would have fought an all-out war with Espina right there and then. I wouldn't have been the only one in danger. All of us would have stood to lose our lives. Of course, the guards might eventually figure out the truth of the matter and determine that we were in the right.
Sì, effettivamente Furina si sta comportando diversamente rispetto alla volta scorsa.
But what good would that do? How can a hollow verdict protect anyone? Had this opera house ever given my father any kind of confidence in its brand of justice, Spina di Rosula would have had no reason to exist. But by staying silent, we retain the ability to deter our opponents and continue the stalemate. I was able to become Spina di Rosula's president, which made me harder to target, as well as giving me more time to grow and learn. And once I have figured out the truth and stepped up to the challenge, I will do what this opera house cannot, and restore my father's truth and honor back to him.
Brava, Navia.
So, you mean to say, your father intended to die in the duelist's ring?
That's right.
Do you have any proof?
Of course. All you need is to ask his opponent, Clarand. I don't need your apology, your guilt, or your support from the shadows. You don't have to do anything for my sake. But since he entrusted his will to you, Clarand, you should tell us the truth about his sacrifice.
So, during the duel, did you believe that Callus was intending to die?
Yes, I did. As a champion duelist, I've fought many battles and taken a countless number of dishonored lives. In my line of work, I've seen all kinds of people give their all for the faintest hope to continue living. Some were determined, others passionate, and just one look and I can tell if a duelist is hoping to live or if they're looking to die. I hereby swear on my name and honor as a champion duelist that Mr. Callus never intended to leave the ring alive.
Grande Clorinda.
Since that's your testimony, I have no more questions. It appears there really are good grounds to reopen this case.
I concur. However, Miss Navia, you still have not explained the link between your father's case and the serial disappearances case.
Right? What she said was fascinating, but kind of beside the point.
Wait, weren't they just talking about the serial disappearances case?
Of course, Your Honor. The two cases are connected via a matter of timing. In my father's case, the culprit intended to kill both Jacques and Callus. As a result, they planned to act after hearing 2 gunshots. And at the end of Linny's trial, the culprit also only dissolved the victim in front of everyone because they realized they were at risk of being identified. The culprit could only time their actions so precisely if they were already at the scene. Coincidentally, Marcel attended both the banquet and the trial.
So that's why you suspected me. Even after hearing your reasoning, I still can't help but find it a little preposterous. I'm used to it, though. You've always been an impulsive and sentimental child, Navia. It's one of your most endearing traits.
Strano che non sembri arrabbiato con noi.
No need to appeal to pathos.
I won't try to refute your points one by one, but even if everything you just said was true, Can you prove that I was the only person present at both events? On top of that, does a person have to be physically present to control the timing? Can't someone remotely monitor the place?
Oof. Don't know what you can say to that.
I know that even with that, you might still think you can reduce the list of suspects with some further investigations until I'm the only one left on the list. Alas, who won't feel at least a little hurt by an accusation of murder from a girl you see as your own daughter?
Sta giocando effettivamente sui sentimenti di Navia.
But if I were to dismiss this completely, you'd also think I'm not being considerate of your feelings. Ah well, let Uncle Marcel teach you another lesson. Do you know what the biggest flaw in your reasoning is?
I suppose you're gonna tell me anyways.
It's timing again. I'm a businessman by trade. From that standpoint, there's no reason for me to kidnap young women. It's a high-risk action with nothing to gain.
Hai fatto le daily? Come sono andate, Ero?
In addition, I left my home in Snezhnaya when I was young to come to Poisson and work in some trade. My business only thrived when I received Callus's patronage.
Marcel viene da Snezhnaya. Questo è interessante. Questo lo devo segnare, questo dettaglio. Hai esplorato? Dove sei andato di bello a vedere?
But the disappearances began before I ever stepped foot in Fontaine.
Uso la scusa delle daily per esplorare. Anch'io la dovrei usare più spesso questa scusa. Sempre Fontaine, perfetto.
I do apologize, demoiselle. This was my mistake.
No, it's not your fault. I'm sure he had come prepared.
Is there anything else you'd like to say? Would you like to check the date of my first business license against the first known case of the serial disappearances? You can also take a look at my border entry records, or ask my friends and family when I left Snezhnaya for the first time. Could those records and testimonies do something to appease the unspeakable anguish in your heart?
Seems like she got the wrong guy.
At this rate, Navia will be convicted for falsely accusing him.
I think you've done a superb job of dissecting your father's feelings as he neared the end of his life. But aren't you going against all of his wishes and expectations right now? He wished for you to become more rational, collected, and conscientious, instead of dwelling only on your own feelings. Once you've learned to be more considerate of others' feelings, and to stop rushing headlong into things, you'd have met most of his expectations.
This isn't just about me, and it never has been. The biggest difference between me and the rest of the victims is that I still have the ability to search for the truth, while that same agency has long been taken from them. The people whose families were destroyed by synth abuse, the people who lost their loved ones to the serial disappearances, and the people who suffered tragic ends due to their sense of justice.
Una grande espressività, Navia. Bravi, bravi sviluppatori.
Many people's images are flashing before my eyes. I'm sure some are coming to those of you in the audience as well. And whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vacher? Oh, so you do know that name.
Ciao Pizza, come va? Grandissimo, come stai?
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never even heard of.
Conosce Marcel, conosce Vacher.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Poco prima, all'ingresso della sede di produzione del synth, il Traveler e Paimon vanno a fare casini. Che bello che sarà questo episodio. Sono molto triste. Ti ho mandato il video musicale, ma non mi hai mai visualizzato. Come? Non ho mai visualizzato, no. Aspetta, recupero subito. Forse era nelle richieste. Era nelle richieste. Era nelle richieste. Aspetta. Principale. Ti chiedo scusa, era nelle richieste, per questo non lo leggevo. adesso l'ho ricevuto. Grazie. Lo guardi con calma dopo la live. Va bene. Ok. Allora, proseguiamo. Purtroppo è che quando mi arrivano le richieste, solitamente arrivano tante persone che vogliono spammare roba del tipo... No, vabbè, a livello di configurazione del gruppo sono messo bene. Venite, ragazzi.
The wind knows me. Who's next?
Andate.
The floor is going up.
È un ascensore.
Is it because of this mechanism in the middle? That guy really prepared a lot of stuff for this place.
Proseguiamo. C'è una chest. Wow.
Paimon thinks we need to go up, but Paimon doesn't see a way. Let's take a look around. Maybe we'll find a hidden mechanism that'll show us the way up.
Adesso posso uscire da quel brutto gioco di Genshin. Come mai? Brutto? Ah, eccoci qua. Però per arrivare lì... Ecco qua, infatti. Esplorare Fontaine mi ha insegnato qualcosina. Ecco il meccanismo nascosto. Ciao Crisp. Ora mi segno la nota sul taccuino. Come on. Who's next? Come stai? Ti vuole male. Metto lo shoutout a Crisp. Io tutto bene, ho l'orecchio sinistro completamente, non completamente, ma tappato. Credo sia un po' di otite, però non ne sono sicuro. Però, quindi niente. Andiamo sopra. Otite o otitto? Otitto. Itto. Ok.
Everybody stand back! Out of the frying pan,
Into the wind. Clouds high. The birds come. Shouldn't let your guard down.
Tutto bene. Curiosavo a che punto eri arrivato testando il livello delle lacrime ancora basse. Sono pronte per Zelig. Devo menare un attimo questi robottoni. Who's next? No, il livello delle lacrime è ancora bassissimo. Il livello dell'acqua si alza ancora e ci apre quella porta lì. Perfetto. Questa è una di quelle situazioni alla giratempo di Harry Potter, perché Tartaglia sta qua mentre dovrebbe essere al processo. Fa troppo ridere questa cosa. Momento, ma come fai a essere qui? Vabbè, ma perché Tartaglia è talmente bello che ha acquisito il potere dell'ubiquità, ragazzi. Vero, caro Marcel? Let's go. Il potere dell'ubiquità, esatto. Ah, dei mecha guard non registrati, eh?
One with nature. As one with wind and cloud. Brace yourself. This is gonna hurt.
Ancora no. Non l'ho ancora conosciuto il signor Rai. Pure i cani sono meccanizzati.
The wind knows me.
Andate. Ho dato 2 schiaffetti ai cani e si sono calmati subito. Poverini. Oh, in che senso? Oh. Minchia, ancora niente Rai. Proprio mentre parliamo, Navia lo sta accusando. Braio può schiaffeggiarmi e dire grazie. The what? Ok, per cercare indizi è...
What's all this? Ah, it's a bunch of really cute things. Pink accessories, a hair tie, a necklace, even a makeup box.
C'è anche un nome.
Paimon sees it too, but why are all these cute things labeled with different girls' names?
Forse appartengono alle vittime.
Huh? You mean the girls from the serial disappearances? They were brought here? And then they were turned into water. And all the boxes of things. These names. That means... Oh, this is terrible.
Ah, io ti giuro che ti stimo tantissimo. Io l'ho fatta tutta in 2 giorni. Non riuscivo ad aspettare per sapere come andava a finire. Nelle profondità del quartiere generale avete scoperto degli oggetti contenuti in dei contenitori suddivisi in base ai nomi dei proprietari. Questi nomi devono avere a che fare con le vittime del caso delle sparizioni seriali. Potrebbe essere la prova che questa fosse la loro fermata finale. Porca miseria.
Here, and it's full of water.
Deve trattarsi di acqua del mare primordiale.
That means this is where they make all the synth, and that special water is the main ingredient.
Esatto.
If you dilute it with normal water, you'll get synth, but the pure stuff can dissolve a human. Paimon will take notes on this incriminating evidence.
La pozza che si trova all'interno del quartier generale è piena di acqua del mare primordiale. Il colpevole può usarla per creare synth e usarla direttamente per dissolvere le persone.
Let's see what's written here. Nothing escapes Detective Paimon's eyes.
E mi fa anche ridere molto, ma fonta. Esatto, la fonta. Semi-cheat.
Callus. Navia's father. Oh, this seems to be an investigation report on him.
E deve essere collegato al suo caso e a quello di Jacques.
Yep, it's about finding someone to assassinate Jacques and Callus because of a lack of confidence that Jacques himself would go through with it.
La Fanta di Fontaine, la fonta, no? Perché è la fonta di Fontaine, giusto?
This should prove the existence of the third person, right?
C'è qualcos'altro?
We still have not determined the exact content of the key information Callus has passed on to certain members of his organization. The old dog's a real menace to deal with. Even if he abides by the promise he's made to us, he will still have the upper hand. He can act whenever he wants to make our lives miserable. The only option left is to remove him from the picture entirely. I concur. Let's send someone to kill him. He won't declare war as long as we don't touch Navia. Oh, seems like we've got a bunch of correspondence between the higher-ups.
Che senso è partita la pubblicità della Red Bull? Si sono preparati con largo anticipo.
They're all just so evil.
Sono stati ritrovati indizi sul caso di Callas all'interno della scatola di libri. Il colpevole non credeva che Jacques l'avrebbe fatto davvero e così ha inviato una terza persona per garantire la morte di Callas. I seguenti contenuti definiscono anche il movente del colpevole in un certo senso.
What's this over here? Looks like some kind of place for research. Experiment number 16 aims to verify Jacob Ingold's research conclusions on the primordial sea and use his theory as a foundation to achieve a breakthrough.
Jacob Ingold. Questo è un nome che forse non mi dimenticherò.
The experiment was a failure. No individual managed to resurface from the water from the primordial sea. Female specimens 22, 23, and 24 were dissolved.
Madonna, Paimon c'ha uno sguardo da film dell'horror, non è un giallo. Ma piccina, povera.
Sorry, traveler. Paimon will try her best. It's just that Paimon's never read something so scary before.
Paimon mi spinge a voler chiudere il gioco e ci stai giocando tu, nemmeno io.
How can someone write something that terrible in such a matter-of-fact tone?
Poverina però, ragazzi. Paimon meme, vabbè, ma poverina. Cioè, legge di ragazze dissolte. Santo Dio.
You read the rest. Paimon's too scared to keep going.
L'obiettivo del ricercatore è salvare la sua amata dissolta, una donna di nome Vignier.
So that's why he did all of these experiments. Wait, did he really think he'd be able to find a way just by dissolving people over and over? That's just insane!
C'è un altro nome, Vasher!
Huh? Isn't that the name you heard by the fountain? Paimon thought he was an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case.
Una donna di nome Guinevere. È il ricercatore. Vasher è il ricercatore. Cazzo. E quindi la voce della fontana doveva essere di Vignery, di Vignier. Pure io mi sciolgo se fa caldo.
So that's it. Vacher was no victim, but personally took his lover and... No, that's not it either. If that's the case, why would he want people to resurface from the water?
È qualcosa che va oltre le apparenze.
In any case, Paimon will write it all down.
L'esperimento 16 mira a verificare le conclusioni delle ricerche di Jacob Ingold sul mare primordiale, usare la sua teoria come base per giungere a una svolta. La vita è un biscotto, ma se piove si scioglie. Linea allo studio. Grande, bellissimo quel film. L'esperimento è stato un fallimento. Nessun individuo è riuscito a riemergere dall'acqua del mare primordiale. I soggetti femminili 22, 23 e 24 si sono dissolti. Ci sono altri documenti del genere. Esamina le bottiglie.
Whoa! There's so much synth here! And so many bottles of ingredients that probably just contain the waters of the primordial sea.
Ne sono veramente un sacco.
Mixing in progress. Ready to drink? Stock sample? Huh. They've also got all the synth pretty clearly labeled. Whoa! There's even fruit-flavored synth?
Beh, adesso abbiamo la prova. Il synth veniva prodotto qui. Il synth alla frutta, ragazzi. La vera concorrente alla Fonta. La Coca-Cola! E niente! No, scusate. Perché è una droga, quindi come la coca o caldo. No?
Super obvious.
Ah, una pozione popolare che si è diffusa ampiamente. No, mi ha rinfrescato con sta freddura. Un salutino ad Ariel che ci starà lurcando in questo momento. Permette a chi la beve di vivere un'esperienza molto piacevole per un breve periodo di tempo, ma i suoi effetti collaterali sono molto forti. Il produttore usa queste caratteristiche speciali per ottenere enormi guadagni. Ciao Ariel, ben ritrovato tra noi. Quando rido sembro Tigro di Winnie the Pooh.
Everything here, and it seems like our theories were spot on. But
Sono come l'occhio di Sauron, vedo tutto. I see you. Ma chi è questo Vasce?
we haven't found anything that reveals his true identity. No wonder even Nervalet wasn't able to find anything. Whoever it is probably destroyed everything to do with that name a long time ago. That way, even if we bring all this back to the opera, we won't be able to identify the true culprit.
Forse non basta, diamo un altro sguardo.
Paimon won't admit defeat to this guy either.
Questa l'abbiamo già esaminata alla libreria, sì. Qualcosa sulla vera identità di Vasher. Purtroppo stacco che ho sonno. Va bene, Hiro. Grazie mille per essere stato con noi. Un bacione. E ci si vede, se ci sei, sabato mattina. No, quelle le bottiglie. Forse nelle scatole.
You take that side and Paimon will take this side. Check everything carefully. We'll find something for sure.
Notte, Hiro.
Nothing at all. And Paimon can't even find snacks either.
Ti sembra il momento di mangiare? Paimon, l'ho trovato.
Oh, really? Let Paimon see. Vinier. Isn't that Vashe's lover's name?
Quindi questo era il suo diario.
Then you found her diary. Let's see. Aw. It's just a normal diary chronicling their love story. She was so
Guarda.
sweet too.
Avevano fatto un elenco.
Paimon feels even worse for her now.
Avevano fatto un elenco di nomi da bambini. E questo che nome è?
So many! A whole page's worth! But they're all crossed out. Was she unhappy with all of them?
Va bene, Hiro, ti aspetto. Buonanotte, carissimo.
The final name she decided on was Marcel.
Marcella? Aspettate, ragazzi. Abbiamo il collegamento.
Wait, but Marcel's pretty old. Has this case been going on for so long that
No,
he's Vache
no,
and
no, no,
Vier's
no.
own son?
Lavoravano con loro.
Hey! Paimon still hasn't figured it out yet.
Ti lascio il lurchino che finisco di lavorare ad alcune cose al PC. Va bene, pizza. Grazie mille per il lurk. Tornate di corsa all'opera Eplicise. Io mi oppongo!
Whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vache?
Ah no, non è un matrimonio, scusate. Sarà una tragedia, non un matrimonio.
Oh, so you do know that name.
Però sarebbe bellissimo entrare in teatro come nel film Shrek verso la fine del film e c'è proprio io mi oppongo. Sarebbe stato bellissimo.
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never even heard of.
Probabilmente Novillette ci avrebbe cacciato fuori a calci nel culo.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Navia! We're back!
As expected of my partner. I just knew you'd return in the nick of time.
Just how often do you intend to flout the rules of this court?
Povero Novillette.
It's all right, Monsieur Neuvillette. Given their confidence, I expect they've found the crucial evidence.
Hai detto di non aver mai sentito parlare di Vasher. Infatti. Ma...
But the truth of it, Marcel, is that you've always been Vacher.
E che tu sei sempre stato Vasher.
Huh?
We've investigated your lair and we already know everything.
Marcel è Vasher, ma certo.
After your lover, Venier, was dissolved, you kept abducting young women to experiment on the hopes of bringing her back to you. You even created Marcel as a new identity and destroyed all records of your past as Vacher.
So that's it. Even the villains in opera performances rarely go that far.
Aspettate che devo mettere... Ok.
And with that, Marcel's motive has now been established.
This information regarding your past also dismantles your prior timing defense.
Perché l'identità di Marcel è fittizia.
Well, Marcel, do you know where you went wrong? You fixated your gaze on the lover that passed away, instead of paying attention to the living people around you. So, you never noticed how we changed, or how we grew as individuals.
You also never understood Boss's real expectations for his daughter.
Or our determination to see things through.
Your determination.
Mr. Marcel, please speak up now if you would like to defend yourself. Otherwise, the trial will move on to the next stage.
Do you really think I wanted to do any of this? Pay attention to you? What for? Have you ever paid attention to me? Ever empathized with my pain? Ever known how it feels to watch the love of your life dissolve right in front of your eyes? No one helped me. No one even believed me. All those decades ago, even the officers from the Maison Gardiennage were laughing at me.
Ma questo forse vuol dire che c'è qualcuno di più potente dietro Marcel barra Vasher.
They said there's no way a human being can turn into water. So I must have gone mad from grief. Vignere's death was brushed away by all of you as if it didn't matter at all. Well, now you know, don't you? Ha! Well, it's too late now. All those who were dissolved are gone forever. You only have yourselves to blame. You set up this ornate opera house in pursuit of your so-called justice, your beloved drama, while turning a blind eye to the suffering of the people.
Ah, Marcel, ci hai colto un pochino.
Vignere is dead. We promised each other that we would always be together. Wherever she goes, I will follow. But I'm not from this blasted place. So I can't be dissolved. No matter what I do.
Hey, is that water from the primordial sea that he's drinking?
I can't dissolve. Can't dissolve. Can't dissolve. Do you all see? I can't go. I can't follow. So if I can't go where she is, what choice do I have but to try to bring her back? I did all of that, and in the end,
That accursed Callus still got the better of me. I spent my entire life living on pins and needles, only to get stabbed by his idiot daughter at the very end.
Mamma, Marcel mi sta facendo venire I brividi.
The suspect is exhibiting signs of mental distress. Guards, please restrain him.
Don't touch me! Don't anybody come near me! I still need to save Vignere. A promise. We made a promise. Vignere. Vignere. Please, Vignere. Don't think badly of me. All I want to do is fulfill our promise.
At this point, the verdict of this trial is clear. With Mr. Marcel's conviction, the charges against Mr. Tartaglia no longer have any basis.
Abbiamo salvato Tartaglia.
Fine by me. I was in a bad mood, but after a show like that, I'm actually feeling pretty good.
Ma stai zitto che ti abbiamo parato il culo.
Traveler, please submit all the evidence you have collected to the guards, so that I might review and summarize the truth behind the serial disappearances case.
Certo.
The man now known as Marcel was originally named Vacher and worked as an adventurer with his partner and lover Vignere. During an underwater expedition, Vignere accidentally came into contact with water from the primordial sea and was dissolved in front of Vacher as a result. Vacher learned of the primordial water's existence through the work of others and began to kidnap young women for research, with the goal of discovering a method to restore Vignere back to life. To cover his tracks, he invented the new alias of Marcel and began to operate a business in Poisson. During the course of his research, Vacher discovered that a diluted concoction of water from the primordial sea can induce feelings of euphoria, and began to manufacture and market synth. However, as he accumulated wealth to fund his continued research and expanded the scope, he came into conflict with Spina di Rosula. After exchanging blows with Spina di Rosula for many years, Vacher decided to assassinate their president Callus at a banquet. Although the assassination did not go as Vacher expected, he was able to turn Callus into the murder suspect by dissolving the assassin he sent to the scene. And just recently, Vacher attempted to frame Linny as the culprit of the serial disappearances case, using a similar method.
Esatto, e qui ci ricolleghiamo al caso dei Laini.
However, his attempt to frame Linny failed, and the power of water from the primordial sea became public knowledge. This case also exposed enough of Vacher's machinations that he was eventually successfully charged in court. Thus concludes the enigmatic history of the serial disappearances case, with the truth revealed to all. The Oratrice will now deliver the final verdict regarding the charges against Mr. Vacher.
Hai perso, Vacher.
According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Mr. Vacher is guilty.
Vabbè.
Guards! Take Vacher away.
Good. It's what he deserves.
With that, the serial disappearances case is over now.
Caso è concluso.
We really just witnessed history. Who would have thought the true culprit would be such a polite and well-spoken guy?
Yippee! We helped Navia bring the bad guy to justice! He's hurt so many innocent people and now he's finally getting what he deserves. Huh? Are you okay?
Povera Navia. È finita.
Demoiselle, you were absolutely brilliant.
The day our late boss had always hoped for has finally come. You can rest easy now, knowing justice has been served.
Callas ha riavuto il suo onore, Navia. Puoi sorridere di nuovo.
Yeah. Yeah. It's finally over. It's all thanks to you guys. And my partner. See, Papa? Spina di Rosula's still doing well with me at the helm.
Well now, hasn't this been a most delicious piece of drama? The villain has been caught, justice has been served, past wrongs have been righted, and it's a big ol' happy ending. Since it's been such a great show, I'll just let the false accusations against me slide. Either way, I've still got some business to attend to. So, if you'll excuse me...
Please wait just one moment, Mr. Tartaglia.
What now? None of this has anything to do with me.
According to court protocol, since this trial was initiated due to a charge against you, a verdict must also be made regarding the initial charge before the trial can conclude.
Nani?
Oh, come on. Is this really necessary? Haven't you already caught the real criminal? Isn't it time for side characters like me to exit stage left?
Please respect the laws of Fontaine. This has always been the rule.
All right, but this sure is a lot of hassle. All I need to do is stand over there, right? Let's just get this over with.
Through evidence presented in the public trial that was just held, it has been established that Mr. Tartaglia has no direct connection to the serial disappearances case. The guilty party has been identified, and thus it is logical to suppose Mr. Tartaglia is innocent of the charges. We now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Mr. Tartaglia is guilty.
Cosa?
Hey! That's not funny! Didn't you just say I'm supposed to be innocent? What's with this verdict? Is your justice machine malfunctioning?
Huh? This has never happened before. The Oratrice actually returned a different verdict from the Chief Justice.
Perché l'oratrice... Ma cosa sta succedendo?
I mean, have you ever heard of an innocent Fatui Harbinger? Do you think the Oratrice might have just convicted him on general principle?
Oh, cosa sta succedendo qui, ragazzi?
But weren't the charges about the serial disappearances case? No matter what else he's guilty of, it shouldn't affect the verdict in this case, right?
Ma che cavolo sta succedendo?
The judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale is, by law, the final verdict of the court. We must accept the guilty verdict. Guards, please take the suspect into custody per court protocol.
So this is how justice is done in Fontaine. What a joke. You've got your rules. Well, I've got mine too!
Sta usando la delusione. Perché non ha la visione con sé. E vai con la Legacy Foul.
I am sorry. If you have been wronged, we will find the truth. But the rules of the court must be upheld.
Ha messo KO Tartaglia. Ha preso un graffio, ok, ma l'ha messo KO.
Hey, Monsieur Neuvillette, what's going on? Shouldn't they have been cleared already?
Apologies. This is also the first time I've encountered such a situation. However, according to the rules established at the conception of Fontaine's court system, the Oratrice's judgment is the final verdict of the court. All I do is follow court procedure. As for why the Oratrice arrived at the conclusion it did, you should probably ask someone more knowledgeable than me.
Se non lo sa neanche il giudice supremo, allora non ci resta altra scelta che chiedere all'Archon in persona.
Why are you to do with it.
Incazzatissima Furina.
I don't know what happened there either. Hey, stop staring at me!
What does Lady Farina mean by that?
She says she has no idea either, but that's impossible. Didn't she create the Oratrice herself?
Yeah, so are the verdicts reliable or not? Can results like this really be called justice?
My dearest citizens, did you really think we'd allow an incorrect verdict to be handed out in this court? Did you really believe that the judgment could be mistaken or be the result of some sort of random mishap?
Ovviamente non potrà far altro che dire che l'oratrice ha avuto ragione per salvare la faccia.
Don't tell me. You thought even I had been blindsided by the Oratrice's result.
But the way she looked just now, it was pretty obvious she had no idea what was going on.
However, given the state of things, I shall give you an explanation. Everything that just took place, including my supposed shock and bafflement, was a part of an elaborate performance, with every action meant to stir up drama and excitement.
Sì, certo, come no.
And, of course, for every performance there is a script. Everything has unfolded exactly as I expected from the very beginning. As the embodiment of the very concept of justice, the Oratrice shall never render an arbitrary judgment! If you thought Child had nothing to do with the serial disappearances case, it is only because you've been blinded by the superficial appearance of innocence. Everything he's done, not to mention the danger he poses, are beyond ordinary comprehension and completely unforgivable! All shall be revealed in time. You will come to understand my noble intentions, as well as the absolute correctness of the Oratrice's verdict.
Purina.
Now, having said that, although I hate to leave things hanging in suspense, it is now time for this performance to end. As the lead actress, I shall be the first to take my leave. Toodaloo!
So she chose to make her escape after all, did she?
Già.
So you're saying we shouldn't put much stock into what she just said?
She probably just put on that performance to save face. As for the truth, it's unlikely that she actually has any idea.
Lei ha proprio tolto la terra da sotto i piedi.
However, please be assured that I will continue to investigate this case in a personal capacity. Just as I promised, if the judgment has been incorrect, we will do our utmost to clear his name.
All right. Even though we feel pretty badly for him, we'll take your word for it for now. After all, he's done plenty of bad stuff, so he should have known he'd go to prison someday, right?
Siamo dal teatro. Tutto troppo strano comunque.
Adventure time.
Tutto strano e assurdo.
Hey, what are you doing? Quick, stop him! Traveler! Hey, Traveler!
Marcel! What are you doing over here?
Stop resisting arrest! Cease, or we'll add another charge to the list. No, wait! I just want to ask the Traveler something. I'm not looking to run away. Please, just let me ask this one small thing.
Go on.
Thank you. I was being led away when I finally realized something. Where did you first hear the name Vacher? I erased all records of that name. So, unless...
Are you still trying to prove your innocence? Give it up. You've already been convicted.
L'ho incontrata.
Really? You did? You're sure? You met her? But how could that be? How did you manage to do it?
È successo nei pressi della fontana di Lucine.
The Fountain of Lucine? Then she's been so close to me all along. And I just never... Please give me a chance to talk to her again. Just let the Traveler take me to the fountain to see her one last time. This is the last request I'll ever make in my life. You can do whatever you want to me afterwards. I don't care.
What? Give an inch and you want to take a mile? Do you think serial killers get to make requests like that?
Paimon agrees. Why should we give him what he wants when he's only done a ton of super terrible things?
This request, is it worth as much to you as your life?
Of course! Wait, no. It's worth even more than my life.
Humans. Will they betray the instinct to live just to satisfy spiritual needs?
Non sei umano, Noivillet? Umani. Tu non sei umano, Noivillet. Che cosa sei? Chi sei, Noivillet?
Very well. I will grant your request.
Interessante.
Your Honor, I fear that...
I will go with him. You do not need to worry about any escape.
In that case, I shall leave him in your most capable hands, Chief Justice.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Conduci Marcella alla piazza della fontana. Umani ci ha chiamato, o meglio, ha chiamato in generale gli altri, il signor Novillet. Non è umano. E se fosse...
Is this the place? You said she's here, but what do I need to do to see her?
In quell'occasione avevo bevuto l'acqua del mare primordiale.
And even Paimon could hear her after drinking that thing. Didn't you just drink a lot of it on the stage as well? Oh, in that case...
Vache.
Ora la sente.
Yes, that's it. So you heard it too.
Vinier, it's me! It's me, Vache!
Vache? Vache?
I'm here! Where are you, Vinier? I'm coming for you. I'm finally here for you.
Hey, wait! Be careful! Hey, wait!
Vinier, is that you? It's me, Vache! Vinier!
Vache? Why did you come? Didn't I say? You don't need to look for me. You look a lot older than I remember. How long has it been?
It's been more than 20 years. I've suffered for over 20 years since the day you left. All this time, only the thought of bringing you back has kept me alive. Nothing else mattered to me. I must be dreaming. Who would have thought I'd get the chance to tell you all of my feelings like this? Vinier, you are my everything. I really don't know how I could live without you.
But Vache, if you ask me, this world would be better off without you.
What are you saying?
If not for you, I would have finished my law degree and probably become a top-tier attorney one day.
Ooh.
If not for you, I would have continued to pursue my love of the arts, and my works would have been displayed in the Palais Mermonia itself. If not for you, I would at least have been able to take care of my mother. And she would not have grown old and died alone, with nothing but the tears on her cheeks.
It's all because of your selfishness, Vache. It's all because of you.
You... Wait, you are not Vignier. Who are you?
You're right. I am not Vignier. I am the sacrifices.
Aia.
Every woman who died by your hand, as our bodies dissolved, our consciousnesses flowed back to the primordial sea. Our thoughts circulated endlessly within the primordial sea, and we were no longer individuals, but we became one, just as streams of water come together in the sea.
Oh, cazzo.
I'm Cressy. I'm Lemony. I'm Azine. The only one I am not is Vignier.
Why? But then, where is Vignier?
She doesn't want to see you anymore. Every tendril of her consciousness is avoiding you. This is what you get for your selfishness. Your selfishness robbed us of our lives and our futures. You said time and time
Ho i
again
brividi.
do any
Ho i
and
brividi.
everything for her.
Ho i brividi. Ho i brividi.
But did you ever consider whether she'd want to see you do the things that you did? If she would despise you for what you became? You are a liar, a heartless murderer, and a cowardly narcissist. The only thing you are not is Vignier's beloved. From the moment your first victim died and her consciousness merged with Vignier's, she has had nothing but pure hatred for you.
Porca miseria.
No! Vignier! She can't hate me. Let me see her, please. Have mercy.
You still don't understand. When I said don't look for me, that came from the real Vignier. She really doesn't want to see you anymore. But on top of that, she also said that because it's her final drop of pity for you. She said that because she knew that if you did come here, we will show no mercy to you.
Oh, cavolo.
Vache. Vache? Vache. 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 Drown.
Cazzo. Oh mio Dio. Oh mio Dio, questa scena. Ma stiamo registrando ancora, sì?
Time to do shopping. Gosh, it's really been a long time since we've been able to relax.
E le mie gambe stanno implorando pietà.
Ah, well met, partner. I knew something great was going to happen when I woke up in such a good mood today.
Even this weather can't put a damper on the demoiselle's mood.
It's a pleasure to see you both again.
Oh, hey, Navia! It's been a few days. Paimon's already started to miss you.
Oh, now that I believe. I'm easy to work with and always bring home the bacon. Who wouldn't treasure having a partner like me?
Oh mio. Io non riesco più a seguire nulla.
Life these days, Navia. What have you been busy with since the trial?
It's just been one thing after the other. I've been making non-stop trips between Poisson and the courts in Seine. Everyone from Spina di Rosula organized a memorial for my father. We never held a memorial when he first died, since everyone knew that even if we held one back then, no one was going to come. This time, though, everyone in Poisson, and even many people from the court, all attended.
So his name's definitely been cleared now. That's what we like to hear.
It's been the dearest wish of Demoiselle all along.
That blasted stubborn fool. I was right to put my faith in him. I'm so glad I didn't give up on the case all those years ago.
Tutto bene quello che finisce bene.
Oh, by the way, I ran into Charlotte just after I left the memorial service. Well, maybe it'd be more accurate to say I knew she would be there, and there was no way she'd just let me go.
Huh? So you know Charlotte too? The Charlotte? Journalist from the Steambird?
Yeah, way back when I first became the president of the Spina di Rosula, she was all over me. Wouldn't take no for an answer. I believe the story was called The True Heart of Darkness, Secret Tales of the Yellow Rose.
Bella.
To be fair though, it was a really flattering feature. So, we've been on pretty good terms ever since. She was trying to lean on our friendship to get me to do an exclusive piece on the serial disappearances case.
Oh yeah, she told us about that. She's always been super interested in that case, so now her wishes finally come true too.
Anyway, I told her to make sure that when she writes about you guys entering the opera house with the critical evidence, that you both sound really cool.
Now that's another thing to look forward to. We trust Charlotte's skills with a pen for sure.
Oh, and in other news, I also took Clorand out for a meal.
Ah, che bello! Tutto bene quello che finisce bene.
Oh, are you two on better terms now?
While you were investigating Vaché's headquarters, Clorand gave testimony on my father's behalf. It was thanks to her that we were able to turn the tide. I wanted to thank her. I mean, there's also no point in being awkward all the time, so we took the chance to reconcile with each other.
Oh, that's great. Paimon also thought Clorand wasn't actually a bad person. It's always good to have more friends.
Ciao Aya, ciao, ben ritrovata, come va? Sono traumatizzato. Vasher è stato un colpo abbastanza pesante, soprattutto la conclusione finale. Dio mio.
Anyway, now that the case has finally been solved, perhaps it will slowly begin to fade from the public consciousness. Oh, actually, there's still one last thing I need to do.
What is it?
I should pay a visit to my father's grave and tell him the truth of what happened, as well as how it all ended. And on top of that, just how much people still look up to him to this day.
Ah, e Tartai è stato arrestato.
That includes me.
Miss Navia.
Indeed.
Posso venire anch'io?
We want to go too. We also think Callus is a really admirable person.
Perché a un certo punto l'oratrice ha giudicato Tartaia colpevole? Questo sarà un altro nodo da sciogliere.
Sure thing. I'd like you two to share the moment with me. After all, without you, there might not have been such a positive ending.
And in that case, everyone, let's be off. Considering the recent weather, we'll be lucky if we can reach Poisson before dark.
Yeah, you're right. It's been raining non-stop for a few days now. This is where my father's grave is. To be perfectly honest, even I haven't been back here for a long time.
Huh? There's someone there already. Wait. That figure.
Hmm?
Isn't that Nervalette? Why would the Chief Justice be here? Huh? Navia?
My apologies. I should have asked before coming to pay my respects.
Don't say that.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I was trying to say there's no need for you to apologize. I wanted to show my father how much I've grown, but still, I doubt I've grown to the point that even the Chief Justice would feel compelled to apologize to me over and over.
In that case, I will stop apologizing for now.
Mamma quanto sei dolce, Novillette.
You really really could use some pointers on understanding human emotions, Monsieur Neuvillette. In any case, why did you come to Poisson?
Well, ever since that day, I've been turning a question over and over in my head. Just what is justice anyway?
Te lo chiedi tu, Neuvillette?
There was once a time when I didn't want to believe that there could be anything more important to humans than life itself. Oh, rather than that, it's probably more truthful to say I didn't believe humans were capable of resisting the most basic instinct of living things. That they could rebel against their own nature, or consider certain things to be more important than their own lives. Which is also why I didn't stop your father from beginning that fateful duel. I believed that a truly innocent man would never throw away his life like that. That there was nothing, should have been nothing more important than one's own continued survival. But Mr. Callus proved me utterly and decisively wrong. If not for his sacrifice, the serial disappearances case would have remained unsolved to this day. Mr. Callus made the choice he did for his daughter, for his associates, and for many people completely unrelated to him. And in the end, from a certain perspective, one could say that he did it all for the sake of justice. A justice that's higher than life itself. So, you asked me why I came here. I just wanted to say my apologies to Mr. Callus in person. I should have noticed all of this much sooner. This regret has filled me with a sadness that has haunted me for days. That high and mighty chair in the Opera Epiclese indeed insulates one from many important things. Spina di Rosula, thank you so much for your hard work and perseverance.
Madonna, Neuvillette, che personaggio che sei, Dio mio.
I'm sorry for being mad at you before. So, you're actually one of those types that's cold on the outside, but pretty thoughtful on the inside, huh? That reminds me of Silver, one of my guys.
Sorry about that. Self-expression is not one of my strong suits.
Didn't I just say you don't need to apologize?
Ah, so Navia and Neuvillette seem to have made their peace as well. Let's not disturb them for now. We can wait till after they're done. Paimon's never paid respects at someone's grave before. Did Paimon do anything rude there?
In teoria non dovresti svolazzare attorno alla tomba della gente.
Paimon didn't know that was a thing. But Paimon doesn't know what she would do if she can't fly. Oh no. Paimon hopes Miss Navia won't be too mad.
L'ha presa seriamente.
Anyway, Neuvillette is still standing around there. It's not often that we can catch him alone like this, so why don't we go talk to him for a bit? If we can't talk to Lady Farina, we can at least talk to him, right?
Ogni cosa torna all'acqua. Chi diavolo sei, Neuvillette?
Oh, it's you two. Did Miss Navia invite you to come pay your respects to her father?
Mm-hmm. We ran into Navia on the streets today, so we just followed her here.
I see, I see. Then is there something that I can help you with?
Well, it's pretty hard to run into you like this.
Il momento delle domande.
So we figured we could try to ask you a few questions, if that's okay.
Please feel free. Though outsiders, you helped us solve one of the greatest mysteries in Fontaine, and it would be my pleasure to return the favor.
Ok. A proposito dell'acqua del mare primordiale, è arrivato il momento delle domandone, ragazzi. Ok. Così chiudiamo questo capitolo. A proposito dell'acqua.
So, at court, the bad guys referred to that special water as water from the primordial sea, but what is it really?
Truthfully, that name is already quite accurate. I can only surmise that Vacher and his ilk only learned of its nature and existence after extensive research.
Questo sì, però...
There used to be a special sea on the surface of this planet. The nature of its seawater was rather different from that of the sea we know today.
Superficie ospitava un mare speciale. La natura della sua acqua era molto diversa, era piuttosto diversa dal mare che conosciamo oggi.
Most of Tevat's life forms were first born in that special sea. You could say it nurtured much of the life on this planet.
Io questi dettagli non me li lascio scappare.
So it really was where everything began. It makes sense to call it primordial then.
But today, the primordial sea no longer exists on the planet's surface.
Si trova sottoterra. Perché si è rovesciato il mondo.
What Vacher discovered must have been some kind of special case, or a remnant from a truly ancient age.
Huh. So that's how it is. Oh, you really know everything, Monsieur Neuvillette. But if that's the case, then why would people, at least people from Fontaine, dissolve in that kind of water?
Indeed. Why would the primordial sea, which was known to engender and nurture life, suddenly reverse itself and devour life instead? To be frank, that also doesn't match my understanding of this world and its laws. There must still be some unknown secrets around the people of this land. Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about?
A proposito della profezia che circola per Fontaine.
That the sea levels will rise and everyone will be dissolved in water, leaving Farina crying alone on her throne, but the sins of the people will be finally washed away for good?
Sì, quella.
Does that appropriately summarize the version you've heard?
Sì.
That's right! It was Linny that told us back then. And that about covers all the main points.
Yes, up to the present, I think we reached a point where we have no choice but to confront this prophecy directly. Rumors have it that this prophecy is rooted in the last words the former Hydro Archon left to the world before she passed away.
A prophecy? Of the former Hydro Archon? Wow. This is the first time that we've ever heard of it.
Two parts of the prophecy have already proven correct. The rising sea levels and the ability of the people of Fontaine to be dissolved. We should be more vigilant and stay on the watch for further signs. Speaking of the prophecy, Farina has also always taken it quite seriously. Indeed, she has been collecting information and intelligence from across Tevat for this purpose. If the rumors were true, then perhaps this prophecy is the conundrum left to Farina by her predecessor.
But with Farina being the way she is, can we really trust her to solve it?
Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about?
Sì, no, Villetta. A proposito del principe.
My apologies. My investigation has still not reached its conclusion. However, I still believe the judgment of the Oratrice was not rendered arbitrarily.
But you also said you thought he was innocent.
For many years, I have been quite aware that the Oratrice does not simply mechanically repeat the verdict that I give on each case. As a divinely created mechanism, the people's unified faith in the concept of justice is integrated into it. Not only can it produce the incredible power of indemnitium, but it likely also possesses other traits, such as self-awareness.
Oh, questo è interessante. L'oratrice è dotato di autocoscienza.
Which is all to say, I've been prepared for a situation like this for a long time.
So when Lenny told us that he heard a human voice from the room where the Oratrice's core is stored...
I was not aware such a thing had occurred. Perhaps that could serve to prove my conjecture. I will add that to the list of items to investigate. In any case, I am inclined to believe that the Oratrice does have a methodology all its own. We just do not have enough information. Based on Farina's reaction, I doubt even she had any idea what was going on. She managed to bluff her way through it, though, with her time-tested twin tricks of bravado and drama.
Cercava di salvare la faccia, Novillette.
While we do intend to get to the bottom of this, for now, we regret to say that the Fatui Harbinger will just have to bide his time in the fortress of Meripede. If we did incorrectly convict him of crimes he did not commit, we will most certainly compensate him to the fullest extent allowed by the law.
If you ask Paimon, the only compensation he'll want is a no-holds-barred fight with you.
Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about?
A proposito di Iter.
Your sibling, another blonde-haired traveler. I'm sorry, but I've never seen anyone who matches that description.
Peccato.
If he ever stepped foot in Fontaine, I'm sure he followed our laws to the letter and had no reason to appear on the stage of the opera Epicles. Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about?
Non ho altre domande.
Very well. It was my honor to provide you with what answers I could. I very much enjoyed conversing with you. It will soon be time for me to leave this blissful tranquility behind and return to Palais Memornia.
You really are super busy, Monsieur Neuvillette. Paimon thought you only came here to pay your respects today because you had the day off.
Crime and villainy do not have the day off, and so justice must work around the clock as well. This is merely the nature of a justice's work.
All right. You've got a point. Huh? Paimon just noticed that the rain has stopped.
Hai visto? L'Hydro Dragon ha smesso di piangere, Paimon.
You know, we've been walking around for a while now. Why don't we go back to the Spina di Rosula base in the court of Fontaine and have a rest?
Direi che per oggi, ragazzi, abbiamo dato. Quindi andiamo a riscattare le ricompense. Abbiamo molto su cui, molte domande ancora senza risposta. Ma siccome si è fatto tardi, potrebbe essere altrimenti. Sto solo dando un'occhiata. Ok. Sì. Riscattiamo le ricompense. Aspettiamo che la pubblicità termini. A questo punto, scusa, ho mezzo addormentato. Fatto tutto. Siamo qua. Catta. Sei full resina, lo so. Ascensione alchemica. Ah, un evento. Ok. Prova personaggi fatta. Perfetto. Siamo di nuovo tornati. Quindi siamo arrivati al momento dei saluti. Ragazzi, che quest? Obiettivo completato, crea un impero. Che ho fatto Twitch? Vediamo da chi vi mando. Ma ovviamente... Anzi no, sapete da chi vi mando? Vi mando dal buon Falarius, che sta giocando anche lui a Genshin in questo momento. Io invece, ragazzi, andrò a Nanna. Vado nel Just Chatting. Vi ringrazio di cuore per essere stati con noi. Io preparo il raid. E ci vediamo sabato mattina e proseguiremo con un nuovo capitolo di questa Archon Quest. Fontaine, mi hai fatto venire i traumi. Perché non funziona il comando? L'ho messo male? Raid Falarius TV. Eccoci qua. Ragazzi, vi auguro una serena notte e ci si vede a sabato. Ciao a tutti.